Welcome to the first video in our series of AI SEO, or AIO. The final name's still not been decided by the marketing community. I'm sure at one stage people will decide on it. But anyway, we're going to call it AI SEO. And we're going to start not in a ChatGPT or not in an LLM. We're going to start in Google because I think that's where most people are familiar. And we're going to start by understanding some of the differences, and then we'll speak a little bit about the similarities. So firstly, on the different sides, where AI SEO is different to traditional SEO or ranking, trying to get your website to rank in the normal search engine, so call it Google and so on. And the first difference is the format or the output of what the type of results they give you. So I'm not saying which company gets ranked where, but rather the type of the medium of the results. So many years ago, when Google was more basic, it used to spit out 10 blue links, and that was the answer, and you had to try and get your company to rank as highest in those links. For many years, that's changed, and depending on the search, there's usually multiple types of results on the search results page. So, for example, here, the first result we're seeing is actually their AI result. So this is like Gemini kind of stuck into Google search, where they're trying to actually give you the straight answer. This preceded or before this was like featured snippets, where they would almost extract something from a website and plant it in the first result. That's for the most part been replaced with essentially the AI overview, where they're just trying to give you the answer straight out where they can. So that's part one. And obviously it's very powerful to be able to rank in one of these links here. The second part you'll see is that sometimes we'll have image links, sometimes we'll even have video links in the first thing, sometimes you have links from Twitter or X or Instagram, so like social media links. So all those things actually now, or for many years, are important in traditional SEO or Google search results. And particularly because of what the nature of my search is, I actually have, even in this search, some locational results. So I have map results. And important to get your company in this section is how you optimize your Google My Business. So from reviews and what you put in that description and so on. So in many ways, I'll say traditional SEO is actually more difficult because there's so many factors at play. From this is a different listing from the website listing, and this is getting extracted from websites, and this is a link to something totally separate, and then finally I get the normal, let's say the normal search results at the bottom. So there's almost a lot more complexity involved in traditional SEO. So that's the good thing. The other part, and this is a very exciting part, I think, about our AI SEO journey, is how to actually rank in any of these sections. So in traditional SEO was always, I'll say, clouded in mystery. It was one of the few platforms that there was never an explicit answer of exactly how to rank there. And Google did this so people didn't game the system. So in the very early beginning days again of Google, I think it's important to understand the history to understand where SEO was to where it is now. An important factor in ranking was how many times that keyword was placed on the website. So like if you had plumbing a lot of times on your website, you rank typically highly. Like this is the very early days of Google. So what people did to game the system, they wrote plumbing in white text on the background of a white background website 1,000 times. So it didn't disrupt the user experience, but Google thought, wow, this site's very much about plumbing. I'm going to rank it highly. And that's how people that was almost like the start of the gaming of the system. And over the years, there's been almost this cat and mouse between black hat SEO, white hat SEO, but essentially people trying to find tricks to outsmart Google. And obviously, as we know, Google always outsmarts us, and it's impossible to long-term win on that strategy. So they always suggest the right way, and the right way was to have good quality content and good quality backlinks. And that was hard, right? It still is hard today. But the how to get those is in some ways shrouded with mystery and not an easy task. And that's a good starting point because that's where it's very different to LLMs. And I'm going to just jump to LLM results here. So here's a search in LLM, the exact same search. And what we see here, again, just starting with the differences, these are different results to what I get in Google. So I get Gunja Plumbing's number 1, Burgess Plumbing number 2, Merendi Plumbing number 3. If I jump to our Google results again, our AI overview mentions none of them. It mentions more directory in the first part. In any of the location results, it mentions none of them. And even in the final search results, I have Burgess Plumbing coming number 2 here. But again, none of the others featuring here. So in many searches, the search results are actually quite correlated, but at the same time, they're also very different. So like Ganja Plumbers, I don't think features anywhere on the front page. And why that's an important starting point is that's where the major opportunity is. To get a website to outrank one of these guys who have lots of backlinks, had a lot of, I'd say, SEO equity in traditional SEO is hard and it takes time. Doesn't matter how big your budget is, doesn't matter how big your team is. Of course, it's possible, but it's hard. To start ranking well in AI LLMs and AI results is way easier, way quicker. Partly because ranking here is different, doesn't require like so much brand equity and so much SEO historic equity, and partly because of something extremely important where we can talk to the LLMs, and I'll show you what I mean here. So the first lesson we're going to have today, and I think this is a good part to kind of finish the first video series. The first video series is really just an introduction, is where SEO is, again, shrouded in mystery. How do they get there? Again, like there's lots of tools that will superimpose their own domain authority rankings to try and replicate how they think Google's working. AI is different because I can actually ask it. So I can say, why did you rank Ganja Plumbers #1? Right. And the beauty is it's going to tell me. And this is a beautiful part. It says it didn't actually rank at #1. So its results are, the thinking behind it are actually different here. That in Google, ranking, the first thing is ranking #1. I can see just by the answer here that it didn't actually think because it listed it first #1, but it did tell me some of the reasons it listed it at all. And this is such an important part because every search query is different. And if I want to start ranking for search queries in AI, which are important to me, it's important to actually understand how they get there. So if I say, I have a plumbing company, I want to rank in this list, how do I do it? It's now going to get me. It's going to give me some great pointers. And one other thing which is exceptionally important, just like in Google or traditional SEO, where the actual every search term is unique, and every slight change the search term, change the search results, that's absolutely true in AI as well. And when we're thinking about what we want to rank for, we actually have to be very cognizant of what AI is using as a ranking factor in that space. So, for example, if we just kind of jump down here where it says, well, it wasn't a ranking list in order, it was just a ranking list. It still tells us what's important to it. So 24/7 availability. So if your plumbing company doesn't have 24/7 availability, it's not going to rank you there. It's probably important to consider, do you want to add that or do you not want to add that, and so on. Things like established reputation are harder to obviously do or create if it doesn't exist. But back to the point of every search term is totally different. If I say something very similar to this, at least in my mind and intent, so I'll say best plumbing company in South Africa for businesses, right? It's now going to give me most likely a totally different set of results. And we're going to just wait to see what it spits out. And why it's so important to see this is that what AI interprets for every search term or search query is totally different. And it helps us to actually start by feeding AI with a whole bunch of search terms or search phrases which we feel are relevant to our business, and then trying to reverse engineer how it's creating that. So have a look at that. This is really interesting. Where these ones are totally different to the first list. So I could have been a company in the first place searching best plumbing company South Africa, and I would have got this list. Now, when I've actually refined my search a bit further and I've gone through best plumbing companies for businesses, it's giving me a totally different list. And what I want to start doing in the background is creating a list, just like I would in Google, of all relevant search terms or search queries, which I feel are valuable. I want to start then putting them into ChatGPT and understanding where my rankings are sitting. Again, using ChatGPT as the biggest source of LLMs. And then I want to start decoding what's important to ChatGPT in this case. Again, the first time I mentioned 24/7. Again, I'm going to ask it, why are these ones listed? And it's going to give me the answer. And that's how I'm going to actually start my journey. Again, it's only the start of our journey. There's many more tricks and many more hacks we're going to uncover. But that's how I'm going to start my journey to actually uncover how to actually start ranking for different search terms. So, recap. Number one, we're going to start with a list of search terms that are relevant, and we can get that from many sources. We're going to then put them into ChatGPT, and we're going to understand what, from a ChatGPT perspective, is it's picking up for those searches. We're then going to ask ChatGPT, why are these here? We're then going to make sure if any of those are not on our website, we're going to put them on our website, for example, 24/7 service and so on and so on. And then we're going to keep doing this process. So that's our first lesson, and where we're going to kind of leave off our first video series in ranking on the AI SERPs, or AI LLMs rather. And that will be the first in our understanding the differences between Google SEO or traditional SEO and LLM SEO. Join us for the next series where we're going to go deeper into different hacks, deeper into our how-to path, and you're hopefully going to join me all the way on the journey of how to get your company to rank for as many of these search terms that are relevant for your industry. Looking forward.